As an industry, Bollywood operates under certain very strict guidelines. If the girl and the guy like each other, they have to sing a song abroad. If the main protagonist gets into a fist fight, he has to come out on the top, whether he's a good-for-nothing college student or a state freaking chief minister. And if you have one of the three Khans in the film, you sure as hell can expect the entire film's narrative to be circled around their character. And why not? I mean, they're the money movers, so anything that they're a part of has to flaunt them, right? Well, not quite. Looking back, Shah Rukh Khan particularly has been pretty generous with the number of times he's appeared to support the main protagonist of the film. And we're not talking about his supporting endeavors towards the start of his career with movies like Dil Ashna Hai, King Uncle, Maya Mem Saab, Army, and some other ones, when the actor was still trying to establish himself as a dependable lead. No, we're talking after becoming a star here. You know, when you really stop playing supporting roles? Counting down these exact instances, this is Amir from Filmanter, and based on his importance to the story, here are 5 times Shah Rukh Khan played a supporting role. Subscribe. Guys, let's start with an honorable mention of Deewana in 1992. And I know I'm breaking the very rule that I established myself in just under a minute ago in the intro, but hear me out. Deewana was Khan's first film on the silver screen, so yes, he most definitely wasn't a star at that time. But how many times have you actually seen superstars created out of supporting endeavors before, let alone someone as big as Shah Rukh became over the years? Just look at the current crop of actors as an example. How many of these did supporting roles before starting to appear as leads? Now sure, a lot of people will argue that it was Khan and not Rishi Kapoor who was the main guy in Deewana, since he got the girl in the end, and of course, the movie is synonymous more with him today than anyone else involved. And to them, I simply ask, when did Khan's character actually surface during the runtime of the film? Exactly, after the damn interval. That's not exactly the makings of the main protagonist, guys. We have associated the movie with Shah Rukh over the years because the movie carries this giant label with itself of being the first film of a guy who ended up becoming such a huge star in the industry. But let it be heard, Shah Rukh was not the main protagonist in Deewana. In fact, here's an interesting stat for you all. He played a supporting role in 4 out of his first 6 films. Number 5, Dulha Mil Gaya in 2010. Let's begin the actual countdown with a movie that has largely been forgotten about in the decades since its release. Holy shit, it's been a decade since this film released. Just a month before appearing in one of his career-defining performances in My Name is Khan, SRK appeared as a wealthy businessman in this Mudassar Aziz rom-com and naturally didn't play the lead. Playing a supporting role to Tej Dhanraj, or Don's Eye played by Fardeen Khan, in what turned out to be the actor's final big screen appearance before he called it a career, Shah Rukh's role as Pawan was to draw contrast in personality with Don's Eye. Always the charming one, Pawan's character arc began with his love for Shimmer and ended on that too, in the process reminding Don's Eye of how gentlemen approach their loved ones. Not gonna lie, if it wasn't abundantly clear of just how good Khan and Sushmita Sen looked together on screen in Mehuna, it did after this movie. The duo had some very good bits in the film, including that one song where they name-dropped each other several films. But apart from that, there wasn't really anything to Dulha Mil Gaya, and in association, Shah Rukh's appearance in it too. The movie wouldn't have suffered any more without Khan in it than it ended up suffering in reality. It turned out to be a box office flop, which makes Fardeen's decision to quit acting quite logical now that you think of it. Number 4, Shakti the Power in 2002. Shakti was a pretty decent film that was uplifted to the power of infinity by the acting performances of its 2 main leads in Karishma Kapoor and Nana Patekar. The movie sees Shekhar and Nandini, a young married couple in Canada, visit India with their son to Shekhar's hometown, but soon realize how the village in its entirety is embroiled in feudal gang wars led by Shekhar's own father, Narsimha. In an effort to put an end to this, Shekhar is killed himself, and Nandini finds her quest to leave the place harder and harder with each passing day as Narsimha refuses to let his grandson leave. In a desperate attempt at hostile escape, however, Nandini finds herself at the mercy of a local drifter by the name of Jay, who, although successfully helps the newly widowed mother escape, also loses his own life in the process. Although Shah Rukh's appearance in the movie was a short one, it damn sure was effective. Playing a caricaturish comedic role, Jay's entry towards the second half breathes a new sense of life in the otherwise dark thriller. His scenes not only work on a comedic level, they also bring some hope for Nandini. And that's exactly why it's so hard to see him die off towards the end. I mean, come on y'all, look at the guy. Even his cigarette is squashed. Number 3. Billu in 2009. Billu was the first and sadly last time SRK collaborated with Irfan Khan on the big screen. The movie expertly brought together the ordinariness of rural India and the larger-than-life Bollywood extravaganza for a wholesome entertainer that at heart spoke about friendship. The movie follows the everyday life of a small-town barber and how his life starts to change when it's rumored that he's apparently a good friend of superstar Sahir Khan. It's basically Shah Rukh playing himself. But even with such an absurd plot, the drama works to great lengths thanks to Priyadarshan's persistent focus on the villagers arc, despite having SRK in literally 3 item songs featuring some of Bollywood's top actresses, and it all comes full circles in the end, so everything works out just fine. The film was produced by SRK himself, so it makes sense that he was featured in it, but that didn't stop the makers from putting the spotlight definitively on the real protagonist in it, Irfan. Number 2. Dear Zindagi in 2016. By the time Dear Zindagi released in 2016, Shah Rukh had already done it all. As it is the case with most actors at that stage, the number of films that the actor does now is pretty limited. Gone are the days when Khan was seen doing 3 or even 4 films every year. That fact alone puts a lot of eyes on the film that he finally gets to appear in, and it's very easy to milk it all. If you're Farah Khan, for example, you'd built an entire narrative around Khan's character specifically, despite having at least 5 other actors in the lead. But that wasn't the case with Gauri Shinde's Dear Zindagi. The movie was an Alia Bhatt starrer, and the makers went out of their way to ensure people deciding to watch it in theaters know that in advance. As the unorthodox psychiatrist Jahangir Khan, SRK becomes the catalyst for pulling Kaira out of this mental state she usually ends up throwing herself in. He teaches her how to consolidate with her family, set normal expectations with her relationships, and generally lead a healthy life. Shah Rukh was phenomenal in Dear Zindagi, period. Stripped off his typical SRK mannerisms that the actor otherwise struggles to let go of in films that he leads, Jahangir Khan, while still sporting the same SRK trademark charm, is a wise, all-knowing and experienced mid-aged doctor who knows exactly how to ease both Kaira and the viewers into feeling every word coming out of his mouth. Dear Zindagi ended up becoming a pretty special film for many and easily one of SRK's best in recent times. And number 1, Hey Ram in 2000. Dear Zindagi is perhaps the best supporting endeavor SRK has graced the Hindi cinema with over his entire career. Hindi being the key word though. If you look at the actor's pan-India filmography, you realize that the actor's most relevant supporting role came as part of the 2000s Kamal Hassan starrer Hey Ram, which coincidentally was the only time Khan did a full-fledged movie outside of the Hindi cinema. The period drama focused on the pre- and post-independence riots that ensued in the nation and was captured beautifully through the lens of Ram, played by Hassan. The arc that his character follows in the film is blatantly challenged by the resurfacing of his good old friend Amjad Ali Khan, played by SRK. Now, provided, just like in Dear Zindagi, you don't get to see SRK until well into the second half of the film after briefly appearing towards the beginning, but rest assured, when he does reappear, the wait is all worth it. His comeback signals an ideological defiance to his Hindu brother Ram and literally puts the protagonist in an entirely different path than what he was originally on, making Hey Ram Shah Rukh Khan's best supporting role to date. And there you have it, guys. 5 times Shah Rukh Khan played a supporting role. Did we miss any other noteworthy films from our list? Let us know in the comment section down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe to Filmanter for more exciting content ahead. With that out of the way, I hope you have a safe week ahead. My name is Amir, and I shall see you soon.